Hi everybody, Tex-Mex here. Thanks for joining me for another video. We're doing another update on my Henry. I think it's the H0001M. It's the standard 22 Magnum with the rounded barrel. For those of you who watch my channel quite a bit, you know that I've done a video with a similar rifle. I bought one of these many years ago. They did change a few things about these rifles. The newer productions doesn't have a barrel bend anymore. They just have like a little spacer. So they did change the design a small amount. But the old rifle, I tested it with some ammo. It did well with it. And the issue is that that rifle was pretty much adopted by my father-in-law, and it's his rifle now. And I really liked them, so I wanted to get one for myself. So I waited until I was able to find one at a good price, and I bought another one. But this is a newer production. I've posted a few videos with it where I try to first sight it in with some open sights. I put a Skinner sight on it, I had put some fire sights on it, and I was having a very difficult time. And eventually I realized that it was keyholing, so there was an issue with the barrel, either the chamber or the crown. Something was wrong with it. I sent it back to Henry, they fixed it, they sent it back to me, they replaced the barrel, they replaced the bolt. Since then I was shooting it and getting it somewhat sighted in, but I wasn't as happy with the accuracy. That being said, I didn't know if it was me or the rifle. So one thing I wanted to do was go ahead and mount a scope on it. I have this rimfire scope. It's a Leupold VX Freedom rimfire. I had it sitting around because I already had it mounted on another rifle at one point, then I took it off. So I mounted it on this Henry just to see how well it does, because I'm curious as to its accuracy. And with open sights, I only trust myself to a certain extent to be able to realistically diagnose how accurate the rifle is. If I put a scope on it and I shoot it from a bag, I'm much more confident that the results coming out are going to be correct. So I have 6 ammunitions here. I've got some Norma, I got some Hornady, some Maxi-Mag. This is the 40 grain. The heaviest I have is the Federal 50 grain, some Winchester. This is a 30 grain, and some Remington 40 grain. I'm going to try all 6 of these out. I'm going to shoot them at 50 yards. I've already put a few rounds through it just to get the scope sighted in, so it is relatively sighted in. Once again, I don't expect any of these to necessarily hit the bullseye, and it's not about how close I get to the bullseye, it's about how well these ammunitions group through this rifle. I'm hoping that it likes at least 1 or 2 of them, that it groups really well, and then I can feel confident that it is an accurate rifle. It's just, you know, you have to figure out which ammunition it likes, which is true for most rimfires, whether it be 22s or 22 Magnums. That being said, I have my sights set up down there at 50 yards. Let me go ahead and go get my camera set up down there. I'll start loading up the first ammunition, and I think I'll start out with the Remington. It's usually a relatively consistent one that's worked well out of some of my rifles, and then we'll go from there. The only issue is that the targets I have set down there are pretty small, and I'm pretty sure this Federal is going to drop quite a bit considering it's a much heavier round. So for that one, I'll have to shoot at one of the targets on top. That way, if it does drop, hopefully it's still on paper and I can see where it's grouping. But anyway, let me go ahead and get the Remington loaded up. I'm going to load up 5 rounds, and we'll start off shooting and see how we're hitting. So we're going to start with the Remington. It is a, let's see here, 40 grain jacketed hollow point. Loaded 5 rounds. I'm going to shoot at the top left target. Let's see how well it groups. Ooh, really high. I thought I had this sighted in. I thought I sighted it in for a 40 grain, so I'm surprised it's hitting so much higher. Ooh. I'm sorry, I shouldn't curse. Well, so far it does not like this Remington ammunition. This is terrible. Okay, the last 3 rounds it grouped really well. The first 2 it didn't. It was not a cold bore. I sighted it in just a little while ago. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to load in 5 more. I'm going to go ahead and do 10 rounds and see if that makes any difference here. I should probably do that with each ammunition. I'll shoot 10 rounds. I expect as the barrel warms up, the last few rounds will start to drift, but I really want to know how this barrel is doing. I don't think 5 rounds is going to be sufficient. So here's round number 6. Okay, it's starting to settle down. You know, I haven't put that many rounds through since they replaced the barrel, so maybe I'm just breaking the barrel in. Okay, that's better. It's not great, but it's certainly a lot better than those first 2 rounds. Yeah, okay. That's 10. Nope, that's not 10. Sorry, math's not my strong point. That's 10, I think, unless I loaded more than 10. Anyway, okay, well, those first 2 rounds were really nutty, and then it started to sort of settle down. So maybe it's just a new barrel and it needed a little more break-in, because yeah, truth be told, ever since I put the new barrel on, well, I've fired a few rounds, but you know, certainly well under 50. So it may just needed a few more rounds in there. Now the barrel did warm up, so I'm going to let it cool off and go ahead, and I'm going to move on next to a mini mag of another 40 grain. But let me go ahead and let the rifle cool off and get it loaded up. So now we are moving on to the Maxi-Mag. This is a hollow point 40 grain jacketed hollow point. We're going to shoot at the target right underneath that first one. If I hadn't said this already, we're shooting at 50 yards. Way low and to the left. Okay, this is not looking good. Okay, I know it's always that first round or 2 that seem to really be flyers, and then the rest, or well, I say the rest. Let's shoot some more and see how it does. Oh, terrible. Yeah, this is not doing well. Maybe it doesn't like either of these 2 ammos. Maybe it prefers a lighter ammo. But so far, these groups are very disappointing. I guess to try lighter ammunition, the next one I'll do, you know what, I'll do this one first. I'll do the Winchester. It's a 30 grain. But let me go ahead and once again let the barrel cool off a bit, and we'll load up the next ammunition. And now we're going to move on to this Winchester. It's a 30 grain polymer tip V Max. I'm going to shoot it at the center top target, and we will keep our fingers crossed that we're doing better. I checked my scope mount. It's nice and solid, so it can't be my scope. Okay. I think that shot high and off target. So you know what we're going to do? We're going to shoot the remaining rounds. I'll load in one more so that we have the full 10 rounds. I'm going to shoot at the bottom target. Yeah, let me shoot at the bottom target. See if it just hits higher up. But yeah, this is not inspiring confidence. Oh, but I think I have my target camera. You know what? Instead of doing that, let me lower the scope. So we'll shoot at the same target, see where we hit. Very high. I'm gonna lower it some more. And we'll just disregard, we're gonna do 9 rounds. We'll disregard that first round since I've adjusted the scope. There we go. That'll be round number 1. Round number 2. Okay, seems to be doing better with this one. Maybe it just likes lighter weight ammunition. Yeah, seems to like this one. It's doing pretty well with it. Oh, that was a little low compared to the rest. That was a little high compared to the rest. Oh, was that 9? No. Apparently that was a misfire. Yeah, I don't know if you can see it there, but there is a strike on the rim. It was dumb of me to just eject that as quickly as I did. I should have kept it in the chamber and cocked the hammer again. In fact, I'll probably put it back in the chamber once I finish here. That was the last round, so let me put this one back in. And that is something to note. If you have a misfire with a rimfire, just, well, even with a centerfire, just give it a few seconds before you eject it. Just in case it's a delayed reaction. Yeah, see, that one shot high. This one did a little bit better, but still not great. But we still got 3 more ammunitions to go. So let me go ahead and set those up. Since I've got it adjusted for a 30 grain ammunition, I think we'll go ahead and do the Hornady VMAX. It's the 30 grain. I think it's the same actual bullet as this Winchester. See if we get similar results. Now we're moving on to the Hornady 30 grain VMAX. I shoot at the bottom middle target. Yeah, the barrel did cool off. So let's see how we do. Ooh, very high again. Well, at least they're grouping. Let's see if they keep hitting the same spot. Yeah. think this is 10. That's 10. Okay, seemed to shoot that one a little bit better. So I've only got 2 left here. 40 grain and a 50 grain. I think I'm going to start with the 50 grain. I don't know, I think I should move the point of impact back up because I do expect this one to drop. So let me go ahead and do that and set up the next ammunition. And now we are moving on to the Federal small game. This is a 50 grain. What does it say? Jacketed hollow point. So it is a jacketed hollow point 50 grain. I'm going to shoot it at the top right target on that target we've been shooting at. I did adjust the scope up quite a bit. I haven't tested it yet, so I may be hitting somewhere completely wrong. But since I've only adjusted elevation, windage shouldn't be a problem, and hopefully we'll see where we are hitting. Let's go ahead and get our rounds down range. Ooh, hitting high, strange. I adjusted it too much. Okay, so I'm gonna lower it a little bit so that first round won't count. So let's see how we group the 9 rounds. Okay, not bad. I really hope it likes this ammunition. If it does, I'm stopping here. I'm telling you all now, if I get them all in the red, I'm going to stop with the test and I'm leaving it sighted in for this 50 grain. Ooh, I wanted it for this 50 grain anyway. That's the ammunition I was originally intending to shoot out of this. Oh, okay. Well, that one didn't go well. Maybe I jerked it. Yeah, it started out so great, now it seems to be drifting. Is it warming up that much? Well, it is warming up. Like I said, I've been letting the barrel cool off between ammunitions. Okay. Not bad, not great. Those 2 that went a bit left concerning me. But the rest seem to be hitting relatively on point. Okay, well, let's go ahead and test the last ammunition. I'll let it cool off one more time and then we'll give it a test. And last but not least, well, potentially least, is the Norma 22. Let's see here, what is this one? Jacketed hollow point 40 grain. Actually, I haven't had a lot of luck with this one out of different rifles. So I'm not sure how the Henry's gonna like it, but it's our last ammunition for the day. And we are shooting at the bottom right target. Let's see how we do. Okay, at least we're on target. Huh. Okay. Not doing bad out of this rifle. Not doing great. Let's see here. Yeah, I mean, not bad. not bad. Ooh, I pulled that one. Oof. Keep going here. Ew, wow, I did not pull that. Okay, that's 10 rounds. Let's go grab our target and see how we did. And here we are with our target. I'm not going to mince words. At 50 yards, I wasn't impressed with these results. I really wasn't. I expected better, especially considering the performance of the older rifle. I mean, certainly still good enough for practical use, especially with a couple of the ammunitions, but the rest did not do well. We started with the Remington, and I mean, you can see here, this is an amazingly large group. I think the first 2 shots were here, and then they started to settle down and kind of made a nice little grouping here. So not terrible, but not great, especially when you take these into consideration. The Maxi-Mag didn't fare much better, pretty large group. The Winchester, this is the polymer tip VMAX, it's the 30 grain. I think it's the same bullet as the Hornady. It did better. I think this top one, I shot it and then I adjusted the scope, so would take that one out. That being said, that still leaves a relatively, you had a tight little grouping here, but then you have one here and one here. So not wonderful, not terrible, but not wonderful. The Hornady did significantly better. I don't think I adjusted the scope at all for this one. So on windage, it pretty much stayed in a straight line, but on elevation, lowest shot is here and the highest shot is here, and the rest are all grouped up in here. So, certainly this would be one that I would consider sighting it in for. The other one I would consider sighting it in for, which is the one I really wanted it to do well with, is the Federal, because I wanted to shoot a heavier grain out of there. And it actually grouped most of them really nice, just a couple here to the left. Once again, this was the first shot, and then I adjusted the scope, so we're not counting it. Once the scope was adjusted, not a bad group. If I had kept them all here, that would have been an amazing group. These 2 up here, is it user error? Possibly. Anything in my videos can always be user error. But I didn't feel like I pulled any shots. I try to call out to the camera when I feel that I pulled a shot. Of course, I could potentially pull a shot and not be aware of it, but that being said, this is pretty good here. It's just these 2 rounds here that kind of pull it off. If these were 100-yard groups, I wouldn't be as disappointed. But for 50 yards, only this one and this one doing well is a bit disappointing. The Norma I thought was doing well, and then the one went off way over here. I know I pulled one shot. I don't think that was the one I pulled, was it? I'll double check, and right now on the screen I'm putting whether this is the one I called out. But compared to the Remington or the CCI, it did better as far as this part of the grouping, but just one kind of farther to the left. So that's sort of strange. This rifle did not like the 40 grain as much, which is a typical weight for 22 Magnum. It seemed to like the lighter stuff and the heavier stuff. So take that for what it's worth. Before we end up this video, I wanted to do another little test. It's the following morning. I kind of spent the night thinking about this rifle and my disappointment with its accuracy as compared to the older one. And, I kind of thought of a few things that I should have said on video earlier. One is my older, or now my father-in-law's older rifle has seen a lot more ammunition through it. That will have the effect of typically smoothing out the trigger pull. So I expect the trigger is a little crisper and a little lighter on that older rifle. And secondly, that older rifle has seen probably 1,000+ rounds, and many new barrels usually, well, I don't know if this is true for rimfires. They claim it's very true for center fires. It'll take, up to 200 rounds to really settle a barrel down. And those rounds I fired through this rifle yesterday were the first rounds that this rifle has seen. That means I put about 70 rounds down range because there were 60 on video and about 10 I took to sight it in previously. So since we're close to 100 rounds, I'm going to do 2 5-round shot groups with the 2 ammunitions it did the best with, one being the Federal and the other one being the Hornady VMAX. So it's very strange that, like the 50 grain and the 30 grain, didn't do so great with the 40 grain. I've got two targets down there. They're a little bit bigger than the ones I used yesterday because I didn't want to really have to adjust the scope between the two ammunitions. And since there's a 20 grain difference, that's going to really change the point of impact significantly. So I figured if I had a bigger target down there, that would make things a little bit easier. Instead of shooting 10 rounds, I'm going to shoot 5. So I'm not getting any drift from the barrel heating up, just to see if the barrel is settling down at all. And if maybe with time, I can get this guy to be a little bit more accurate, or if my prior conclusion was correct, that the older production was just more accurate. So let me go ahead and get the camera set up downrange, and we'll go ahead and take these shots. Go ahead and put my ears on. We're going to start with the Federal. 5 rounds. I'm going to put it on the left target. Now, this is a cold bore. I have not fired any rounds through this rifle today. Way to the left. Yeah, I'm not impressed. I am not impressed. Well, now it's grouping a little bit better. But it started to group a little better. Maybe those cold bore shots were a little off, so I'll go ahead and put in 5 more and see if that stays on target or keeps them grouping tight, because that cold bore shot could have certainly been the explanation for that first shot going so far left. So we'll continue here. Just straighten this out, put out a little bit. 5 more shots of the Federal 50 grain. Yeah, no, it's doing better now. Yeah, okay, well, it does seem that the cold bore was a big issue with that first shot. First couple of shots, I guess. Yeah, now they're grouping better. Okay. Now I'm gonna go ahead and load in. I guess I'll go ahead and do 10 since we did 10 at the other one. I'm gonna do 10 rounds of the 30 grain VMAX Hornady. Now we're gonna shoot at the right target. Ooh, super high. But I figured this one is, I sighted it in for the 50 grain, so this one was definitely gonna be high. Ugh, that's not great. Yeah. How does my barrel? I mean, the barrel is starting to warm up, so maybe that I should have let it cool off a little bit. Yeah, I'm getting that vertical rise, which may be from the heating up of the barrel. Well, not terrible. yeah, I mean, they're grouping well now. Go away, little fly. Let's see here. Yeah, no, actually, not bad. Okay, so here we are at our targets. You know, not terribly impressed, but not disappointed either. So this was the Federal, and these were the first 2 shots. So the barrel warmed up, and then they started to group a little bit better. I think that's 3 shots, maybe that's 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, so that's not bad. I mean, really, at 50 yards, it's not amazing, but it's not bad. If you take these 2 shots out, it's great. If you put those 2 shots back in, it's eh. But like I said, that was a cold bore shot. When you go to the Hornady, there wasn't a cold bore issue, but they started, it looks like they started to slowly rise, and that may have been as the barrel was heating up. So if you let the barrel cool down between shots, it's possible I could have kept this a little bit tighter. That's not bad. Once again, not amazing, because from here to here, what's that? Over an inch, not quite an inch and a half, maybe an inch and a half, but they all stayed really, I mean, as far as windage, there was no movement. It just vertically went up as we shot along. I think, I mean, by looking at the shooting camera, I'll be able to see if, I mean, excuse me, the target camera, if there was much difference there. But so I don't know, I'm hesitant to say that this one is less or more accurate than the older production. It's possible as I shoot it more and I put more rounds through it that the barrel, excuse me, will settle down. Just a quick update here. It's a couple of weeks after the original shoot, and I've put some more rounds through the Henry, and I really, like I said, I wanted to sight it in for this 50 grain Federal. So I've put maybe another 50 rounds through it, and these are the last 10 rounds I just shot. I've got it sighted in, and that's 10 rounds. So it does seem that you need to put a couple of 100 rounds through your new Henry to get the barrel to sort of settle down and start grouping better, and I'm very happy with that. So it's hard for me to say if old production and new production really have much of a difference. I think it was just an issue of letting the barrel settle down, putting some extra rounds down range before I started to try to figure out which ammunition it likes, and luckily it did like the Federal 50 grain. I hope you all have a wonderful week. I hope you're doing well, staying safe, going out to the range, having fun, and I will see you in the next video.